here in a second. It says we are live, so we'll of course give it a few seconds to kick in, which is the norm for YouTube. Let's see. So I'm just uploading it, make sure everything's good. All right, we are live. Hello, everybody. Welcome to another edition with Icarus Precision and 1776 or bust. And tonight we're going to be talking a little bit about something new that is coming out. I'm super excited about it. We've already had some really, really awesome comments from people saying it's ugly and whatever. And that's fine. You guys are entitled to your opinion until you put your hand on it. And last time I checked, you're not going to be modeling this to the criminal. You're going to be using it against the criminal. So, first off, if you guys don't know, Travis is the CEO of Icarus Precision. He's always kind enough to ask me to do these with them, especially when they have a new release. So for those of you who are watching at 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, which I believe is 5 o'clock Pacific Standard Time. Am I correct in that? I hope.
I believe so.
They are going to be releasing the following that I'm going to show you. Not sure what's going to happen with this. The last time we did our video together, or our live stream, we got banned from YouTube for the video. Thankfully, they didn't do anything to the channel. But this guy right here, I did a video on this here. I know, I can't remember that guy's name. The other guy that's always doing the videos too. Gibbs, something Gibb or something
Tiberius
like that.
Gibbs, yeah.
Yes, Tiberius Gibbs. Much better. I have to say, much better quality videos than mine. But nonetheless, this little guy right here, in my opinion, guys, at 8 o'clock, you better grab one because it is worth every dime you're going to be spending on it because of the way it changes the dynamics of the pistol. Again, a lot of people will probably say, oh, that's bullshit or it's not true. And I'm telling you, it's true. I am not a SIG P365 XL or small guy until I got my hands on these. It changes the way the gun will flip. Just all of the little intricacies they put in the grip, the little thumb rest on the side here. I mean, just a bunch of things that they've improved from the original generations to now, and that goes for basically all their lowers. It's just phenomenal, and I appreciate the fact, again, I've said this a million times, they keep on innovating what they're doing and making it even more available for people to come onto the bandwagon of this and start really enjoying the SIG and the modularity of it. So, Travis, at this point, I'll let you start talking about the Elite and anything you'd like to share and some information about it.
Oh, well, I mean, we got a couple of them out now to some testers. You were one of the early guys to get them. Tiberius Gibbs got his a couple weeks ago. It's been kind of a long project for me. We've had our hybrid line with the XL Pro for a couple of years now, and a couple of different versions of it. It's gotten progressively a little better, improved. And I started just playing around with how do I make it different? I like the 365. It's popular gun, obviously. How do I kind of take it to the next level and make it feel a little more like a more serious, more full size gun in a way, but still be compact. And I started playing with the geometry, playing with grip texture, adding some features, the undercuts, some skeletonization, some of the blind scale pockets, which have no functional purpose other than they just look cool and they're there and they match up with the lines on the SIG slides. And but I had all my team giving me feedback. Hey, try this. We'll try this. We'll try this. That's going to be really hard to do. I don't know if I can do that. Blah, blah, blah. I worked on it it's been a 6-month long project to get the actual grip geometry really figured out, and ended up being the smallest, most minute geometry change made huge difference in the feel in your hand. Actually, I was actually concerned when I was doing the modeling in SolidWorks on. I was like, this is not going to make that much difference, even though because I basically added a mild full radius palm swell around the outside sides of the grip here, around the actual side. So it's got a very mild palm swell. It's literally a 1/16 of an inch width wise. That's all it is. But that made a huge difference in the feel. Then I like our hybrid texture we've had for quite a while. It's grippy, but not too aggressive. So you're not, going to be rubbing yourself raw or something with it. But I always thought I wanted it to be a little bit tackier, a little bit grabbier on your hand. Started playing with some different tools, different tool paths, ways to get it to be more aggressive with the stippling. And did my first version of this, which did not have the stippling on the side radiuses here. It was just on the side panels and the back strap. And it felt really good. I was like, it's a huge improvement. I grabbed it into the machine. I was like, oh, this feels good. I mean, this feels really good. I was really proud of it. Then I got it out and gave everybody, passed it around the table to employees. Like, hey, what do you think of this? Yeah, it feels great, but if you could just add stippling around the actual corner radiuses of grip too, and then if you could just add borders to make it all finished and look like panels, and it kind of went on and on and on. It was getting a little bit frustrating, to be honest, over the course of the last 3 or 4 months, because every time I do something, I was like, this is great. We got to go with this. Like, nah, we should add this, add that. It was kind of a circus, a little bit frustrating, but we finally did get everything on there that we kind of wanted to hit. The thumb rest was a later addition in the project, actually, because I was back at SIG and was talking with Ian, I think he's a senior editor for Recoil magazine, and he has one of our XL Pro grips. We got to him probably going on a year or 2 back now, honestly, and he was shooting an event with it, and he's like, hey, check this out. This thing's working good. I want to show you what I did to it, though. And he had done some at-home Dremel work on his grip module, running like a TLR7 light, I think, on it, and pretty much ground in a thumb rest, speed flat, whatever you want to call it. He's like, this is great, man. You should see if you can do this. I got to figure out how I could make it actually work. And I had a few versions of it, and one or two of them just didn't work at all. They just absolutely beat the hell out of my thumb. So I settled on this design, which actually worked out really well for what it is. Didn't want to make it too overly big and bulbous and just be a pain in the butt, because the problem is with this going forward is you add a weird feature to the outside of any grip, holsters become a challenge then. We've really been fortunate. We've reached out to several of the current holster makers we use, some totally new ones we haven't really worked with before. All of them are like, yeah, we want to try this. So we got some stuff going with them and got them models, and they've been working with them. And so they're going to be launching holsters. A couple of them, I think, already have them available, but some of them are going to be coming out soon. But yeah, overall, it's just been a long project, but the whole goal was to see how can we make the 365 really feel not so much like a 365. How can it feel like a bigger weapon than it is in your hand without making it feel like a full size? Because like an X Compact, super good size carry gun, but even it's not the smallest carry gun in the world, it's still kind of a big gun to carry. So like, how do I get the 365 to feel more like a full size gun, but still keep it small and give you, the maximum amount of control, the maximum amount of contact with your hand at different points. The undercuts on the trigger guards were part of that too. So you can, between the thumb rest and the trigger guards undercut, you can really lock it kind of, got to get my hand here, kind of lock it in and kind of pinch down and push forward with this a little bit. Yeah, it's been a long evolution. I'm really, really happy with the end product. It's worked out really well. We've got them in hands of several testers, some bigger name guys, some smaller name guys, and it's been overall really, really positive feedback. So we're really happy with this one so far. I'm hoping I don't have to go through and make any other really major monumental changes in a while, because I got to figure out how to maximize this platform and kind of what I can do next. I'm starting to kind of run out of ideas of things to do on a 365, to be honest, but we'll think of something else. There's always the next best thing.
Yeah, and I know as you were talking, I was holding both of them, the XL Hybrid and then the Elite in my hand, and you made the idea of just trimming down some areas, making it a little bit more rounded, those types of things. And even though it's a minute difference, I mean, when you put them in your hands, you can definitely feel the difference in texture is amazing. I mean, this is the Hybrid XL that I got. Very good, awesome, But then when you put the other one in your hand, you're like, wait a second, this is much, much more awesome than this one. Yeah. Just even with the room for the finger here, that right there changes the dynamic of the feel. It feels much more rounded in the hand. This little ledge right here, like you said, once you get your hand locked in there, this shoots like a completely different gun from the stock. It feels like it's a bigger gun. Obviously the weights are different there. But I mean, this has become my carry for the entire summer. And even now, I'm still carrying it. It is just a fun gun to shoot, fun gun to play with. I love taking it to the range because, again, I'm not a huge fan necessarily of small kind of micro type guns. But even though this keeps getting bigger, it still stays very small, if that makes sense. It's kind of like an oxymoron. It's the biggest little gun that I absolutely love shooting, because of the fact that it has so many different parts to it that have improved over time. I think the biggest thing that I've noticed when shooting this handgun is the texture. It locks into your hand so well that even if you don't have necessarily this little ledge right here for the thumb, just the lock-in of the fingers, the undercuts on the trigger guard really allow you to position your hand perfectly on it. And that was something I always complained about with the 365 as a whole, is that it's so small. It's kind of difficult to figure out, at least for me, was how to get a comfortable grip on the gun where I didn't feel like I was going to blow off my thumb when I was shooting. And it definitely made a huge improvement. I mean, it's just all I can say is 8 o'clock, guys, get it. I know I've been accused of being a salesman for you guys, and hell, maybe I am. I don't know. But all I know is that I've enjoyed this gun because of the fact that I was able to get my hands on this. And it makes a huge, huge difference for people, especially who are in love with the 365 or the 365 XL platform. This makes such a big difference in just my appreciation for the whole platform as a whole. Again, the fact that we're talking modularity, the fact that you can do just about 1,000,001 things. It's like the Baskin Robbins of guns, because you can do basically anything you want to it, and it just keeps getting better within the time frame you're talking. Also, the point that you said, you're trying to maximize the platform. Honestly, I don't know if it gets any better than this right now. It's not to downplay what you've done in the past, but this, to me, I think this might be the pinnacle. I think you guys have reached the zenith of this blower.
I always think that too, and then I'm like, I think I could try this. And then sometimes the ideas don't work at all. Trust me, I've had some real duds too. But now and then, like, this actually works. I mean, I'm working with a couple other companies too on some other ideas, and they have good ideas too, because different points of view and their different shooting. How they shoot. Some of them shoot competitively, some just shoot for fun, and they're like, "Hey, you should try this." Like, that's a clever idea. So there are some more things we can do to it, but for the time being, I'm really happy with how it turned out. It's shocking how much different it makes the weapon feel and shoot.
Right.
One of my guys just picked up one of the 365 XL Legions or Spectre, XL Spectres, which has the OEM polymer grip. On it, grip module on it. The texture they put on it is super good. The actual stipling is it right here. The stipling is a huge improvement. It is super grippy. It feels good. But we were both kind of laughing because, like, so this thing's like $1,100, and then we start grabbing these. We're going, this just feels so much more like a serious gun. This thing feels super skinny, and it's grippy for a polymer grip, but it's just like, it's night and day difference. It's hard to believe it's the same weapon.
Yeah, it's your typical polymer grip. The stippling might be nicer and all that other stuff, but at the end of the day, it's still polymer. And that aluminum, there's an attraction to aluminum. I think, some people will downplay the fact that you have a all metal gun. But there's still that, I think it's almost like cult-like following for people who really love the feel of an all-metal handgun. And like you said, it's just the substantial feel of it. The fact that when you put it in your hand, it feels like a gun. It doesn't feel like a toy. And I think that's also another reason why it's such an enjoyable gun. Super easy to carry. I mean, this thing is not hard to carry. It's not hard to make it disappear. Just for even a bigger frame, it's still tiny. I mean, it's just there's not much of a difference here between what you're going to find with a polymer, except for the fact that the material that you're using is different.
Yeah. And just for the guys that we get asked this question a million times a week, what's it weigh? What's it weigh? What's it weigh? How much is that? So the Elite series does weigh a little bit more than the Hybrid series because we've added material on the sides here. So it does have more mass. It's not massive, but it is, when you put the two in your hands, you can tell one weighs just a skosh more than the other one. So for the guys that want to know that it does weigh a little more, so just FYI, because I know we'll get asked that. I have the numbers somewhere exactly, but I don't know where they are.
So let me ask you this. When I did the last video on it, there are a lot of questions that came up about the firearm as a whole. One of the questions, especially about the Elite, was, do you have any plans to make this right here, this little thumb ledge? Do you have any plans for making it for lefties or on both sides at some point? Because there are some left-handed shooters out there who are wondering if that's ever going to happen.
You're actually glad you brought it up because I almost would have forgot. We actually we have some tonight going live. There are some ambidextrous versions as well.
Sweet.
So yeah, we weren't sure exactly how much demand was going to be for an ambidextrous one, so that we didn't make a ton of them. There's some though. They will be available. If it's something that people like have a demand for, and if they sell out or something, by all means, we'll make more of them. We were kind of kicking back and forth on, do we make an ambi, do we not make an ambi, blah blah blah. Went back to SIG again to one of the events, and we were first showcasing this whole platform, and we were debating on the way there to SIG, do we make a left-handed version, do we make a left-handed, do we know? There's not that many. Percentage of left-handed shooters is very small. I don't know what the number is off the top of my head, but it's significantly smaller than right-handed shooters, obviously. And then I swear to God, the first question probably 8 out of 10 people asked that walked up and grabbed her, like, oh, this thing feels great. You gonna make a left-handed version? I was going, are you lefty? No. Well, why does it matter? So anyway, we determined there was enough people that were interested, and he said, well, if I do make an AMB version with it on the left and the right, would you still buy it? And most people were like, yeah, I think I would. Well, okay. So I went back and went to work, and we did make one like that. And it turns out one of the SIG instructors that does a lot of helps us out a lot, doing some testing and some design work with us, and just has a lot of input and helps us with the products. He's a lefty. I didn't know that. So I gave him a right-handed one, and he goes, I'm actually a lefty. I was like, oh, shit, now I got to make a left-handed one. So I busted out a left-handed version. That's ambi, actually. It's not lefty. It's ambidextrous. So the thumb rests on both sides. Sent it back to him. I said, hey, what do you think of this thing? He's like, dude, I freaking love it. This is awesome. He goes, the extra thumb rest on the other side doesn't even bother me because I use it for a rest for my trigger finger. I mean, it's just like a huge landmark you can put your trigger finger on. Actually, in my team and myself shooting it, I prefer the ambi as well. I can't say why, but it's just nicer. It works out well. So yeah, there is an ambi version as well. A left-hand specific version, probably not. I don't know. I don't see that in the horizon right now, unless there's enough demand. Like, no, I wanted left hand only. Get a couple hundred people together that you're like, yeah, I'll buy a left hand only version. It's doable. So, but we'll start with the ambi, because I think when people actually try the ambi, they'll actually like it quite a bit. It feels. I thought at first it'd be kind of this obnoxious thing on both sides, but actually it works really well.
Yep, and I can definitely see more people, probably even non-left-handed shooters, moving towards the ambi side of things, just because there's always going to be that debate of shooting offhand. So let's say you lose the use of your strong hand, now you're going to the other side just to have that extra ability to place a thumb on the other side. So I got a feeling you're going to see a big demand for the ambis. Although I honestly, most people are going to go for the right-handed, let's be honest. But I think that's going to be a cool option for people to have. So you heard it from Travis. For those of you out there, 8 o'clock tonight, they're going to be selling the Elite right here. They're going to have the regular version, which is your righties. And then of course the ambi version, which he just announced, which is pretty sweet. So definitely check those out. Yeah,
and then I just off the top of my head, because you had yours flipping around there on the screen. So the one modification is different between the one you have and the one that's actually coming out. So on yours, on this thumb rest, has a finer diamond pattern. The new ones have the same texture as the actual side up here. So it's actually slightly tackier than the finer waffle pattern like you have on yours. So yeah, just cool. Heads up.
That makes it even better. I mean, like I said, I didn't have any issues with it. I liked it. I think it's just the way it was designed, because even if you look at it, I mean, it's hard to see on this stupid webcam I have, but even if you look at I don't know what side I'm on. Shit. Hold on one second here. My God. All right, here we go. So if you look at it, and I should have done that in a video, but I just noticed it. You can see that this right here doesn't extend much past any of the controls on the gun. So some people might say, well, it makes it, I don't want to say significantly wider, but it really doesn't. I mean, it's almost in line, I'd say, with maybe the takedown lever or something like that, maybe protruding just a slight bit past it. So it doesn't really expand the width of the gun that some people are thinking. Other manufacturers, as we know, make items like that, and they're big, man. They're chunky little things, and effective, but they obviously stick out a little bit more. This one actually, I think, is pretty streamlined for what it's going to be doing for you. So that's pretty cool. Now,
I'm trying to think of what else was there.
So the bigger question again, and we talked about this the last time, and I'm probably sure you know exactly what I'm going to ask you. I recently did a video not too long ago about the holsters that I use for my particular guns. The easiest guns that I can tell you all right now that you'll find holsters for are the X Compact, X Carry, even the SOCOM. Those three work for just about any holster that you can think of. I just did the holster video. This is pretty sweet. Pretty badass outside the waistband holster. This fits everything. The 365, the regular hybrid, this one here, works with just about what I have right now, no problems. I did find a little bit of an issue with the Elite, but it really isn't anything except for the trigger guard. So I actually wound up remolding some things. Tolster is actually sending me one of these for the 365 XL, so I'll be interested to see if it works with this. But there were some questions about holsters. It's always a big question. You know, what good is having a handgun if you can't carry the damn thing? So I know you have some people working with you.
We saw that one coming because we get that request a lot too. Holsters is always a thing because everybody is very, very attached to the holster they find that works for them. So that's a totally good question to have. Just going forward, just from our experience from the current holsters manufactured for our grip modules in the XL Pro XL size, if you have a holster that is for our grip module for an XL Pro that is a light bearing holster for a TLR7 or whatever light, the Elite seems to be fine because on that particular style of holster, the holster actually, encompasses a light and it has all the clearance going down the sides. The gas or the thumb rest is no problem going by that because it's already got clearance for it. So as far as other than that, we're lucky enough. Initially, we reached out to our Havoc holsters, got a hold of us, or we got a hold of them. I forget how. And they came up with this sweet sidecar rig for the Elite system already that has the built-in track already in the side of it here for the thumb rest. And he, I believe, is already making these things. Really nice holster. They busted it out for us in a big hurry for us. Other list of holster makers, we're already working with Lag Tactical. They're ones who've been working. They do a lot of holsters for us. They are also doing these for the Elites. Just said mentioned Havoc Holsters is doing them. They might already be offering them. A&R out in New Hampshire, they do a lot of holsters for a lot of the SIG employees and stuff, and they're planning on offering them as well. McKinney, another one who does current offers for our holster, for our grip modules, they're going to be doing an Elite offering as well. Tac Rig will be doing them too, and DeVito holsters will also be offering an Elite rig as well. So we have quite a few holster makers on board to start making some holsters for this thing.
Yep, and again, guys. For me, the holsters I've had, I've been able to use with just about everything. Slight remolding with a heat gun always works pretty well. While it may not look perfect, it usually will redo everything for you. Right. And that was something I found out. So let's talk a little bit about the longevity. And what I mean by that is, where do you see this going? I mean, let's be honest. You guys, in my opinion, have had amazing success in a very short time frame. I'm sure your R&D and everything you've put into this has probably taken longer than seeing the success of it. So what do you think long term? Or, well, maybe you could tell me. Maybe I'm wrong. You tell me.
I'm not sure. We're at that point where we kind of need to expand, but I'm not real anxious to expand because in my other company, we had what I thought were guaranteed contracts, Department of Defense contracts, that were 5-6 years. We ended up getting 3 years into them. We moved facilities, bought a bunch of equipment. And then all of a sudden my 5-year contract was a 3-year contract because they sequestered the military. And that was a big problem. So I'm not crazy about making major expansion moves at this point. We're just trying to keep everything going at capacity. Right now we're busy. I mean, we're always on the ragged edge of just about making all we can make, and we're blessed and fortunate that we can pretty much sell everything we make, which is a great challenge to have, but it's a challenge because we just can't really get ahead on stuff. R&D stuff, I'm into this thing now at least 3 years, probably maybe a little more. I mean, I think we've been actually selling them, I want to say, for at least 2 years, maybe a little more than 2 years. But I've been working on the projects for a long time. That, like you and I talked right before we got on here too, it's a little bit of a problem. It's like, okay, so what do I do next? What do I do next? I've already done this now. What do I do next? And it seems like every time I think I'm kind of getting out of ideas, it ends up being somebody else like, hey, have you thought about this? And again, a lot of the guys that I have working with us now, consultants and stuff, are professional level shooters, military, law enforcement, and the competitive shooters. And I'm not a shooter like that. I'm just a guy that likes to shoot and likes to make cool shit.
Yep.
So their input makes a huge difference, because it's like, yeah, I don't think I would have made this, but that makes perfect sense from your perspective and what you do. I get it. It's not something I would ever thought of, but let's give it a shot. And we got a couple of those things I'll show you here in a minute. That's like, hey, so far the response from consumers for it has been really, really positive. But it's one of these things that if you would have told me, hey, design this, I've been like, I don't think that's going to work at all. That sounds like I don't think that's a good product to launch. But people put them out. We did some, put them out there. People are like, that's badass. I want 6.
Yeah.
Okay.
Exactly.
I guess it's a popular thing. So we'll keep on going. We'll keep on doing whatever we can do on the platforms we're working on. I still, at some point, would like to get into some other platforms altogether, other than just SIG. But the SIG platform currently just lends itself so well to what we do. It just makes good sense. And again, SIG has been super helpful, really supportive. They've included us in a lot of stuff, and I really can't speak highly enough about them and how much they've done for us. But the Glock market is huge. I'd still like to do something with Glock. I'm not sure what form that's going to be. A grip frame for a Glock would be nice. I get requests for that periodically still. I'd love to be able to do it. It presents a lot of more unique challenges than the SIG platform. Not impossible things to do, but it's just a matter of having time and machine availability to do it is kind of a challenge. And we're trying to expand still into all the other parts of a 365 and 320, because that's kind of our bread and butter. Mag bases, which we'll talk about here in a second. I got a couple examples to show you. Slides. So there's those are kind of the two low hanging fruit things we're kind of working on as we speak right now to get going on. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not crazy about growing exponentially big, because the higher you climb, the farther you fall. That's just how it goes. And there will be a downturn. There will be new laws passed. Something catastrophic will happen, and then you're left just trying to figure out what the hell to do with yourself.
Yep.
So I know that's kind of a roundabout answer, but that's about the best I can give you.
Listen, that to me is a perfect answer, because it's the real answer. I mean, the reality is, yeah, you are doing very well. And the fact is, you have some people who, to see that success, and then all of a sudden, boom, they want to expand and just go out of control big. And then next thing you know, like you said, the higher you go, the longer you're going to fall down. So I think it's a great business plan. I mean, I'm not a businessman myself, not an entrepreneur. You guys definitely have me on that, but I think you would be the expert when you say that. So one question I have for you, there's a couple of questions actually. The one I first put up here on the screen, it says, is there an international demand at all? Have you seen anybody from outside the US looking at these products?
Believe it or not, yeah. We have seen some stuff. We actually did a shipment to Puerto Rico. We had a dealer in Puerto Rico order a pretty good amount of grip modules down there. But probably 3 or 4 months ago, we shipped out a big package to those guys in Puerto Rico. We've done some stuff in Costa Rica a little bit as well. Sorry, I take it back. Costa Rica is a dealer. Puerto Rico we've shipped to quite a bit because they're a U.S. territory.
Yeah, U.S. territory. Yep.
Yeah, Costa Rica though, we had a dealer there and had to go through an importer exporter. Everything went fine, no problem there. So he has a bunch of our stuff down there.
Nice.
We get requests now and then from Taiwan, Philippines. We've had several from Europe. I wouldn't say a lot, but we do see periodically German people wanting stuff. And yes, there is some international interest. We're not really up on shipping stuff internationally. So the guy in Costa Rica had an importer exporter he worked with. So he's like, hey, this is my guy, use this guy, and it all went well. So if other countries, guys have importer exporters they work with and they are interested, if it's within the legal bounds to do so, I'm happy to help them out if I can.
Sure. Now, the other question that was asked so far is, what's the cost for just the XL frame? So I'm assuming that would be like the XL hybrid frame, and then obviously if you want to talk about overall costs of what you guys produce.
Yeah, the XL hybrids, which are kind of, the hybrid standard XL and XL Pro have been out of stock now for a while. I apologize. Again, we've been trying to build inventory on Elites. We think we have a decent chunk of inventory built up for them. It's not, I hope we sell out, but we'll see. But we wanted to have a decent amount. So we've been kind of pushing off doing the hybrid system line. We're going to be back into those here shortly, hopefully. The hybrid 365 XL is $235. The new 365 X Elite, which is essentially an XL size frame, but it's still, you have an actually Pro Elite because you have the.
Oh, that's right. Damn it.
Cover. So the X Elite takes the standard length slide, just like you can, the new SIG released the 365X recently, and that is basically the cross 365X. And then so standard size slide, 12 round mags. That one is $299 for the Elite series though. And then the Elite Pro is $319. Also, speaking of which, you have an Elite Pro and you also have a Parker Mount Machine Gen 2 comp on a slide.
I do.
Yeah, and that's the one you've shot quite a bit too. And those fit damn near flush fit with the XL Pro hybrids and the 365 Pro Elites. They are extremely close fit. I think the comp hangs out by about 20 thousandths or so from being totally flush. Yeah, but the XL slide is a flush fit with the Pro length.
And just so that if you guys have not had any experience with this comp, holy crap! I mean, you want to talk about flat shooting handgun? Jesus, it's ridiculous. I mean, this thing was, and I did a video on it. It was friggin' ridiculous. So again, for somebody who'd never liked the 365, I'm probably the biggest fanboy of this damn gun right now, just because of the what you guys have done with the gun. And that's why I'm saying little incremental change. You don't ever think is necessarily making such a big impact, but for a shooter, somebody who's into the firearm or is just kind of tiptoeing around the firearm, when you have the ability to actually put something on there that really just changes the experience as a whole, I think it's hard to beat. I've had a 43X, I've had a 48. I've had like probably 5 or 6 shields, 2.0, 1.0, 4-inch, not the 4-inch. All of them are gone. And the bottom line was, for me, the shootability was remarkably better. The fact that it actually feels like a larger gun, shoots like a larger gun, and just, again, the ability to have that modularity of changing up what you want. Do you want a comp? Do you want not, the triggers, just everything. It just changed the way I view the pistol. And really just the way I view SIG as a whole. And honestly, I'll be 100% honest with you. SIG Sauer could not do that for me. They came out with the AXG. That does nothing for me. I mean, it's still nuts and bolts. It's still a regular 320 to me, but something like this where you're adding the undercuts, adding the stippling, just making bigger finger, ledges and all this other stuff. To me, this is what has made my love affair with this gun increase more and more. I know that there's some people who are watching this right now who probably have bought some of your stuff already. And, I would say 99% of the people that leave comments or have said something to me in later chats or something, it's always positive. There's always going to be that 1% that wants to bitch about something, that wants to be angry. We had a sidebar chat one day because I got lit up by somebody who hates my guts for some weird reason. Can't explain why that is, but I think I'm a likable person, but apparently not to this individual. And, we kind of got a good chuckle out of it, but it's just, when you look at products, and, my YouTube channel has been around maybe 5 years, I think, and I've done reviews on a lot of different things. I've paid for a lot of different things. Never have I had a product that I've been just so enamored with and just so happy to be a part of watching the growth. Even today before the chat, I pulled all the stuff that you guys have sent, and I've always disclosed that you guys have been really awesome with me, and I always appreciate that. But just watching it, if I threw it all on the table and you see like the Gen 1s and then the Gen 2s and then this, you begin to just see an evolution of a product that makes so much sense for a shooter to own. So in my opinion, if you guys have not tried to get one of these in your hands, you're making a mistake. I know there a lot of people saw the AXG and, oh, you got grip panels and this and that and everything else. yeah, that's nice. Aesthetically, it looks cool and all that other stuff. But the difference of experience in shooting with your stuff versus the SIG stuff, not a knock against them, it has made it, to me, it's just changed the complete overview of this firearm for me and the entire platform of 365 and 320. So again, that's just my love affair with this stuff. And I think most people are feeling it. I think most people are getting to that point. So I think that's awesome.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. I hate to say this too, but I often now and then run across some Gen 1, some early prototypes and that kind of stuff. I'm like, man, this has came so far. It's so much better. I mean, this worked, but God, this is so much better. So yeah, it's been evolution for sure. And it's like I say, we just always keep on trying to figure out what do we do next? What do we do next? What do we do next? You always got to have 2 or 3 things in the hopper. Hopefully, we can be working towards, developing. But I wanted to also mention too, one thing about the comps, since you brought that up. We have limited number of packages for the 365 Pro Elite grip modules and the Parker Mountain Gen 2 comps. I don't have a ton of them, but I do have some. I believe some are Anno Black, and some we are launching. The initial launch is going to have a special Cerakote color. It's called Pewter, which is, it kind of is a pewter color. It's kind of a tungsten gray, silverish. Nice. It's actually a really cool looking color. We're pretty happy with it. So we have some of the comp packages are pewter. Some of the comp packages are black Anno. Again, there's not a ton of them, but they are there. We've got what we've got. I've been working with Parker Mountain quite a bit. They've been unbelievably helpful on stuff too, and they're trying to get geared up to start being able to consistently have supply on 365 comps. So working with Parker Mountain, we're hoping to, in the next probably month or 2 is kind of the goal. I think we'll see if that happens. Make it so it's a standard package offering on our website, so you can get a grip module and a Parker Mountain comp on a consistent basis, not kind of a special launch type thing, but we can have them offered all the time for people, which would be great. While we're on that note too, we're going to also be getting with them and start offering their 320 comps with the grip modules and packages as well. Just putting an order in for a bunch of those right now. I think they just launched a restock of a bunch of 320 comps a couple of days back. If they're not already sold out, it wouldn't shock me, because usually when they launch, they'll be restock of comps. They sell out like freaking insane, like within like literally 5 minutes. It's ludicrous how fast they sell comps. So I'm hoping I can get some more of those, and they're trying to get gear up so they can be making those 320 comps and 365 comps more consistently. And we're lucky enough that they've been able to work with us, and they're going to supply comps for us so we can have standard package offerings with their comps and our grip modules going forward. That's
very cool.
That's kind of in the plans. It's not a thing yet, but we're working towards that. So far, the response from people buying the comp package from us has been awesome. It's been really good. I think Parker Mountain did really well selling their packages of our grip module with their comps too, so that worked out well for both of us. Which, while we're kind of back up a little bit to you, you're talking about like business expansion plans. I just had a thought too. We were talking about before we jumped on here. Just to some of the viewers you have out there, since we're working kind of towards the base pads for 320s, 365s will both be launching in relatively short order. We're working on slides. We already do grip modules, obviously, and be offering comps as well from Parker Mountain. What are your thoughts from some of the listeners, your customer, you people you work with, that on if we were offering like a full package of everything except for an FCU, is that something that consumers are interested in, or would they rather have it a la carte, or we're just kind of playing that game a little bit?
That's a great question. I think most people who are like-minded, like myself, I think a la carte would be pretty sweet, because then you can actually, pick and choose every little intricate part of it, which I know that's sort of what SIG is doing right now, where you can buy the FCU and then do this, then that, or that, or this. I honestly, for me, that would be what I'd want to do. I think you're always going to have people who want just the whole package because they can't make up their mind. But I think people who are avid gun people who love the modularity first off, and then just the ability to do what you want and pick and choose, dude, I think that's a winning solution, whether it's a slide with slide cuts or not, whether it's an optic ready version or not. I think for most people, I think they want the a la carte. Absolutely.
Okay. Well, fair enough. See here. So we've kind of been over all the elite stuff. So while we're on 365 stuff, I think we've done some posts on your line. So this is our newest mag base, 12 round mag capacity for the XL magazines. it's designed to fit in with our put the thing in the right way. Designed to fit really well lined up with our all of our grip models, actually the hybrid lineup, and then also the elite lineup. Radiuses match along the back. The radiuses match around the front. You got some slide reliefs on the side so you can strip the mag better. One of the sides you strip a little bit too. The stippling on this actually matches the elite stippling, and it's still 12 round capacity. I probably, depending on how these go, we'll probably do a 15 round version. We'll probably do a 365 standard version, 12 round version for the normal standard 365, maybe a 12 round version for that as well. 10 round, I'm not sure, but we'll kind of dipping our toe into the mag base market, see how that goes. So there's already some really good mag bases out in the market. So I mean, make one out of aluminum. There's some aluminum ones out there, but I was like, I gotta make it unique and different enough to kind of match our stuff, have some unique features. That's one of the things that we've been kind of revamping a little few of the 320 even lines, adding some features that some of the other professional shooters like, hey, I wanted to have this. What do you think? So there's going to be some slight modifications, not a lot, but still just things that guys that shoot think about. Guys like me, I don't think about it at all, but that's why I have those guys help us out. So that's going to be a 365 one. There's not really a set launch date for those yet. I got to kind of see how the elites sell and try and build some inventory again. I got to restock some hybrid stuff, and then we'll get into some base pads. So hopefully before the end of the year is kind of the loose goal on the base pads for 365 XLs. You and I already talked, I think, about the 320 base pads, which are a little bit bizarre looking, but it just is what it is. And again, this is going back to our conversation a second ago. This is one of those products that I would have never thought in a million years to design a mag base that looks like this. I'm just like, that would not be a really good marketable product. One of the guys that works with us, he's a competitive shooter, professional shooter. That's what he does. He was an Army Spec Ops guy. And he's like, dude, when I'm freaking grabbing mags and dropping mags, I want them to weigh a whole bunch so they fall like a freaking rock. I want to be able to grab them when I freaking take them out of my belt. And I just don't want to have any doubt I can get a hold on this thing easily with my hands. And I said, hey, design up something that, make me a drawing of what you think you want to look like, and we'll kind of go from there. And he drew up this thing that resembled this. I was like, are you sure? That doesn't seem like it's going to be great. But we started posting pictures about it and doing stuff, and people were very, very receptive and really interested. So I was like, okay. I mean, I'm convinced it sounds like it has some merit for sure. We did shoot some promotional kind of videos for this recently too, which we'll be getting up, I think, in the near future. And some of the features, again, when you have this thing, because your support hand, then you actually can get a grip on the front of the mag base with your support hand, which gives you, otherwise you're grasping at nothing with this. So again, those are things that I don't think about, but he's like, dude, major difference. There's no other mag base on the market that you can actually get a grip with your support hand on. Like, well, that makes sense. I can see how that would be a benefit for sure. So the kind of tentative launch on those is October 9th for the 320 mag bases. Just FYI, there'll be some promotional stuff coming out of just some features, benefits, and that kind of stuff on them here, hopefully pretty soon. And then the other thing that I may have shown you this before in the past, I don't quite remember for sure. On the 320 stuff, though, on an X Compact to start out with, we have a 320 slide X Compact.
That thing is beautiful.
It's not the most freaking crazy glamorous pattern and with weird stuff and everything on it, but the texturing on it is, I mean, it's aggressive. You can grab a bite on this thing no matter where you got all kinds of texture to get your hands on. Something like that. Scale pockets, I'm still not sure on. I know people like them. They look cool. I don't know that they're necessary. I don't know if it's going to sell more or less with them. So again, that'd be a good question for some of your listeners. Like, hey, do you like them with through pockets in them? I mean, we have guys that are concerned about lint getting stuck in their
Yeah.
mag
Yeah.
release, and so I can't imagine having big open pockets on your slide, lint getting in there too. I don't know. So I'm working on one for a 365 standard as well, which is a very similar stippling pattern to this one, with an optics cut for Romeo Zero, Hollow Sun 507K, a Riton. And then I'm
So
not going to do any scale pockets in the 365 because even from talking with Sig, they're like, the slide speed of a 365 standard is extremely fast. If you lighten it up at all, it just beats itself up even more. So don't, basically. So that's going to be not with scale pockets, but it'll be the same kind of stipple pattern wrapped around the top like that. So you can just freaking grab a hold of that thing and just rip it. So that's coming down the line as well. So there's things happening, but it's grip modules are kind of our bread and butter, like we say. So we keep on working on those, improving those. There's some newer, not really new, but there's just 320 stuff coming along too. Again, it's not like revolutionary, earth shattering, whole new models, but there's some revisions to some things that are, I think, will be well received. I mean, there are things that we just like, hey, we have this on this model, we could do on this model too. Let's do that. Okay, cool. So there's quite a few things in the works.
I've got to stop you on a couple of things, because as you were looking at that, I don't know if everybody noticed, but my jaw dropped, drool came out, as always. But one of the things that I mean, first off, it's like two different market segments. You have the competitive shooter who's going to want the 18-pound mag base plate so the thing drops out into the floor. You have the slide cuts that are also going to lighten the slide, hopefully reduce recoil for competitive shooter. But there are also some of those tactical individuals who want that as well. So, and then that kind of self-answers the question of a la carte. Now you're able to build the perfect pistol for yourselves. So that kind of answered that, in my opinion. Also, just looking at some of the things you're coming up with, I mean, I'm looking at some of the comments here. Somebody said head start on the drop for those on the live. So you're already seeing that just by saying certain things, people are already, again, jumping on it, saying, okay, absolutely, yes, 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 yes. Somebody's saying get into match grade barrels. I don't know, if that's easy or not. I have no idea.
No, actually, I'm glad you brought that up, because again, just Parker Mountain's been super, super cool to work with. They're going to be getting into manufacturing their own barrels, I think, pretty soon as well. And they've been generous enough to be like, hey, we'll start selling you match grade barrels if you want to sell barrels too. And at first I was like, I don't know if I can really sell just barrels without doing spiral cuts on them and dimpling and that kind of crap. And then one of my guys was like, dude, just if he's making a match grade barrel, and Parker Mountain makes really, really nice high quality stuff, and he likes match grade stuff. And he said, just get some and just sell them as normal barrels, get them coated. And I'm like, well, okay. Because at first I told him, I don't know if I can sell barrels, but I can sell comp barrel packages. That's easy, because every time we have their comps in stock, man, they're freaking gone. They are gone.
Yep.
So hopefully we'll have the opportunity to do barrels as well as comps with them. And then, so we could do almost everything except for an FCU, essentially. So that's kind of the goal. It's a longer term project, because we got so many things on the line right now. It's kind of making my head spin. I'm kind of losing my bananas a little bit sometimes, but it's a challenge, but they're good challenges. I mean, it's always better to have more to do than not enough to do, because that's far worse. I've been there before too.
Sure. Now, the interesting thing you said when you were talking about slide cuts, and then also for optic ready versions and stuff, one of the things that right away raised my ears was the fact that you're going to make them cut for certain optics. Am I correct in saying that that's what I heard you say?
As far as I'm aware, the only footprint that is currently offered for the XL and the standard, like the 365X, is a Romeo Zero optics cut, which also is the same as a Hollow Sun 507K is the same. And then the Riton, their new one they just came out with for their micro carry guns, it's the same optics mount. So I don't know that there's a big, I mean, there probably is an RMR version or a Trigicon version of a small micro carry optic too. I'm not aware off the top of my head. So that would be an option as well, because I mean, I know RMRs are hugely popular. I mean, that's a great optic. So yeah, I'll try and figure out which ones the majority of people are going to want. And I feel like, and I correct me if I'm wrong, if people want to step in and tell me I'm wrong, that's totally fine, because I honestly don't know. I feel like the Romeo Zero basic cut, which fits the 3 or 4 optics out there on the market by other manufacturers, that's probably the one to go with, because that's the most common optic for those right now.
Sure. I would agree with that.
And on the
Now,
320 stuff, my plan is kind of to go with the Delta Point Pro mount because that fits Romeo 0 or Romeo 1 Pros, Delta Point Pros. And then one of my other guys, competitive shooter guys, is like, you got to have an offering for an RMR as well, because that's another big one in full size guns. So I know there's kind of some that you can do an RMR and a Delta Point Pro cut. It works for both. I haven't seen them work very well, in my opinion. It's better if they're dedicated, but again, I could be wrong on that.
Yep. And then I think and again, I may be wrong on this too, but I'm fairly certain that any RMR pattern will fit a hollow sun as well, which is kind of pretty decent. So, I'm a hollow sun guy because I think they make quality stuff and it's affordable for most people. And I've been very pleased. I have a green dot, red dot, and they make good stuff.
Yeah, I have to give credit. Riton's been super good with giving us product. They've given us some of their newer stuff before it even comes out, and we really are happy with their product. They make a aluminum hood over their optic, which the Romeo 0 plastic hood and awesome. But this is the newest Riton version, I believe, that we just got a prototype on that we really like. And this whole hood is actually aluminum, which just makes it feel a lot more quality. It does to me. Right. I have to. They've been great to work with. They've done some promoting with us. We've done some promoting with them. So I got to give them credit. I just the other day, just by chance, purely because I know that the Hollow Sun 507K is a really super popular optic for the 365 XL. I reached out to Hollow Sun and I was like, hey, just so I make sure this is going to fit your optics, I know it's a popular one. Can you guys give me the footprint dimensions and basically engineered drawings for your mounting? They got back to me in like less than 10 minutes and sent me over like a bunch of drawings, engineered drawings. So I have to give them credit. They did me a favor by letting me know that. That was great.
Well, it also helps them too, because ultimately they probably know you're going to sell stuff that eventually is going to sell their product as well. So I think it's, everybody's helping each other at the same time.
God willing, yes.
Yeah. So Kiva Sigobin, I don't know if I'm pronouncing that correctly. My bad if I'm not. Please remember when cutting for an optic, keep the screws in mind. Sig kind of messed up with the RMR tap and the XG. Sig tapped a 640 screw. Most RMRs are 638 or so. So I have no idea what the hell that means because I am not an engineering expert, but just keep that in mind.
Okay. Yeah, that's the other thing is depending on when you buy some aftermarket slides, you get a bunch of you get a whole hodgepodge of like 7 different screws for different potential optics adapter plates and different slide cuts, and it's like, I don't know what half of these screws are going to go to, but some of these screws seem really small. Some of them are just majorly big or way too long. And the optics market is not exactly what I would call the most standardized thing in the world.
Right. And the funny thing is, I know a lot of people are calling that, the new wave is optics. And I think a lot of people are just so onto that right now. So it would be stupid not to try to kind of go in that realm as well. So
yeah,
good for you guys.
I mean, just the experience that we've, since we've been involved with working with Sig so closely, just going back there, even they're like, yeah, optics is the way of the future for handguns. It just is. Like, oh, okay. I mean, one of my LE guys, a special forces guy that's been working with me a long time, consultant, good friend of mine. He's an old school guy, iron sights. He's didn't like optics at all. We went back to Sig and they're just like, no, dude, optics is how it's going to be. It's not going back. So he's like dedicated himself now to work with optics, only train with optics. And it's kind of been a different thing for a lot of those guys that are just good with iron sights because they used them for years to go to optics. It's just like, man, that's a big change. But you got to keep doing it.
It is. And I agree. I've had a trouble with it. I started shooting with them. For me, honestly, it is super easier to shoot with it. I still suck at it, in my opinion, but I'm trying to get better over time. Yeah. It's obviously helpful when you have the optics on the guns and everything's lined up correctly, but it's just it's a learning curve. It's like anything else. It's a learning curve. Once you learn it, it's a pretty fairly straightforward thing to do. All right, so we are now at about 6-7 minutes out from 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. So we might as well just say it again, guys. 8 o'clock, it's going to go live. The Elite is going to be available. And
my guys telling me in the corner, just go now, start looking, start buying. I think he's trying to he hit refresh. It'll refresh. He's apparently jumped the gun a little bit, so I apologize. But they are.
No, listen, man, he can't help himself. I know he can't. He does this every time. He's always like, screw it, let's just sell the goddamn thing. So, all right, so it is live. I am convinced you will sell out of this product in a matter of minutes. Hopefully, I'm correct, because I think
while I got you on here, like I wanted to say, like I said, we tried to have a decent amount of inventory to start out with, to have a launch. We knew we figured it'd be good. If it ends up being where it's sold out, give us a second. It'll go to a pre-order status. They're not have to be made. We have a ton of them at coatings right now getting anodized. So we're a couple of weeks out from getting them back. So there is a ton in circulation. We just don't have them physically. So what we have physically is it's in stock. If it goes to pre-order, your order will get filled in as quickly as we can. We have a ton of these things made. They're just waiting to be processed through anodization basically at this point. So I understand it's frustrating. I apologize. I wish we could have had 5,000 of them ready to sell tonight, but that was just not in the cards. That is beyond my capacity at the moment.
Can I ask you this? Are you able to tell us how many you do have in the physical circulation, even the ones who are still being anodized?
I have around 250.
Wow.
So
all right, I'm betting 250 sold. That's what I'm betting.
I hope you're right, man. It'd be a good night for us if that's the case. I hope that's the case, but we'll see.
So yeah, Kung Fu Jackson, he already said he got one. He ordered one. So Kung Fu Jackson ordered one. Kevin is saying, where's the damn coupon code? I don't have one for you, but I would get one anyway because it's worth it.
Yeah, that was the other thing doing this particular product, because it has so much more details and stuff in it.
Yeah.
The price point's obviously higher than it was. And I apologize for that. I wish we could have kept the same. Everything, just like in every consumer market, for gas, for food, for lumber, for everything, it's freaking going crazy price wise. My material has been going up for the past year pretty consistently. I mean, it jumped. At one point, I had a quote for material, and I get material orders every other week. I had a 40% increase in price of material. It was absolutely ludicrous. It's kind of came down a little bit, but it's not stable. It has gone up. It's never going to come back down because of all the new import, export things. Plants are hard to find employees. So my material cost has gone up overall about 25 to 30% from what I started out. It's just gone a lot. And my coolant's gone up. My cutting fluids have gone up. My tooling prices have gone up. Everything has freaking gone up like crazy. And then these elites take substantially more time to actually manufacture than the standard ones because there's a lot more detail in them and everything like that. I wish I could have kept them the same price. I really did. I'm really trying to keep to where the product is a good value for the money, because I know it's $300 is not a little bit of money. It's a decent chunk of change for people. Right. I want to feel like they're getting their value out of their product. I wish they could be cheaper. I just can't. I apologize for that. So that's the pricing. I wish I could change it. I can't. It's just the way it is right now. It's just the world, and it's in a state of flux.
And I think most consumers understand that. I mean, hell, you go to your supermarket, everything's more expensive. Go to the gas pump, it's more expensive. I mean, that's what inflation is. And so we know there's a shortage of supply on just about everything and anything right now. So the price has to go up. And honestly, comparatively speaking, from something like this to this, you're right. It is the labor. It's a little more, there's got to be more labor involved in this. Yeah. And that has to be taken into account. I know it is $300 is a lot of money, but again, if you guys are definitely into the product, it's worth it. I mean, yeah, if you want to go buy a whole nother SIG, go for it, but you don't have to. I honestly, you don't have to. I mean, I like the XL, but this again has changed my look on this firearm. So for me, it wouldn't make sense.
It still surprises me how many people are not aware of the modularity of the 365 and 320. The 320 modularity has kind of been pushed by SIG themselves quite a bit. But 365s, they have not really pushed the modularity of like they did the 320.
Right.
But
somebody is saying they're trying to get the raw model, and they're asking, has that sold out?
I would be surprised. I would be, because raw is always the last one to go because everybody wants one coated. But my phone's over here dinging like crazy, so I know stuff's selling pretty fast. I have no idea where we're at. like I say, there, even if you have to go to a pre-order, man, we'll get you taken care of. Again, if you order them raw, it's going to be the fastest turnaround time, because my biggest hiccup in our production right now is literally coatings. Anodization has taken me almost a month to get turnarounds on.
Wow.
It's freaking killing us right now. And I wish there was more ano shops to go to, but every single one that I deal with around here, they're all at a month, because they just are. I mean, we're decently close to Zev Firearms, to Aero Precision, to a lot of other big firearms manufacturers, and a lot of their ano comes down to my area, and so these shops are all just buried right now. But yeah, raw is the quickest turnaround to get stuff shipped out. If you can live with a raw one, you can coat it yourself, have it anode, have it coated. That's going to give you your best chance to get it in your hand the sooner, for sure.
Awesome. All right, so we made it through another hour. So
yeah, it always goes faster than I think it's going to.
It does. It does. And, you know, I'm always worried that we never will have enough to actually talk about. So I'm glad that you talk. And then as you're talking, I'm like, all right, I'm going to ask him about that. But
yeah,
I just think I don't even think we have to talk. I think if we just put these up here without getting banned from, YouTube, I don't think we'd have to say anything.
We didn't show any complete weapons this time. I think
that is true. So all you YouTube censors, none of these were complete firearms at all. These are parts just like anything else. So if I show a magazine, it's no different. It's not a complete firearm. So I expect this live chat to stay on.
I am curious too, if you got any feedback on the mag bases, on anybody saying anything about that, what their thoughts are?
Somebody said, Kung Fu Jackson said, matching base plates, take my money, thumbs up. Okay. So I think anything you make, people are going to buy it. I don't even know if it's worth asking it anymore, because this is becoming, I'm telling you, you guys are becoming a cult following type company. People love your stuff.
That's one thing I could never say in my wildest dreams. I'd be like, oh yeah, we have a following. Actually,
you do.
I'm deeply appreciative and honored to even have that kind of thing thrown around with our name. That's awesome. I really appreciate it.
All right, so Justin Brokaw, he said he just got one. Veracity Nation saying, when I choose the right hand or ambi and raw, it says sold out. Justin saying, we want the mag plates. They are sick. Kiva is saying mag plates. And then, so it looks like right now everybody's saying they got one and mag plates, damn it. So get working on those,
I got one more question while we got a lot of people talking about this on the mag plates. I had quite a few people when we posted a picture on Instagram. They said, hey, we'll work with the Mag Guts 12 round, or 14 round system on there. And like the current one is set up to work with the OEM stuff, but having one that does work with the Mag Guts internals is not that far of a reach to actually manufacture as well. How much feedback from your guys would you have for that Mag Guts version of that 12 round base plate? Do you think it's worth making it Mag Guts compatible?
I think anything that increases capacity for people living in the free world, I think will always sell.
Fair enough.
I'm not sure how much, but I think it will sell because, if somebody mentioned it here tonight, you take a look at the Hellcat from Springfield. If you did a 12+2, say goodbye to the Hellcat, because the 365 now has that ability to carry 14 rounds. That would be sick. That would be a sick thing for that to happen. So I could see it selling. Not exactly sure how much, because again, some people will say no, but I think it would be something worth looking at, maybe testing the waters to see what the initial demand would be on something like that. So yeah, I think that's
cool.
I think anytime you can do something.
When I get a, I have a couple of the mag bases that have had your name labeled on them, so I'll get a couple of them sent out to you.
Yeah, no worries.
And then when I get some slides cut up, I'll get you a slide review too on the 365. It'll be standard size slide, not an XL, so you have to set up with your comp or just be sure. But yeah, get some feedback on it.
Awesome. I'm sure it'll be all positive. So everybody who joined us tonight, thank you again. I'm fairly certain every single 365 Elite will be sold by the time I end this broadcast. I'm not surprised. Yeah, I'm telling you, if you guys had one of these, just go ahead and burn your money, because it's totally worth it. It is a marketable improvement on already a great product, and it's just made it even better. So, thanks guys. Thank you, Travis, for joining us tonight. Yeah, and thanks for everybody who was watching. And let's keep going, man. Let's see what else you guys got. So till we meet again, guys, take care. Have a great night. Stay safe, and freedom is never free, guys.